On the 22nd of February, Tropfest, the world's largest short film festival, will return to Centennial Park and will be live streamed exclusively on YouTube, giving 16 Australian finalists a chance to premiere their film and artistry to the world. Now today on Diving Deep, I sit down with John Polson, Australian actor, director and founder of Tropfest, the world's largest short film festival. We dive into the creativity, risk, leadership, evolution, and exploring Tropfest from the perspective of the person who built it. So, John, thank you very much for coming on today.
Hey, Sam, I can't think of anything I'd rather be doing, mate.
I appreciate it. All the way from New York as well?
Yes, yeah.
Bit colder over there at the moment?
A little chilly,
Yeah.
a couple of feet of snow on the ground, so it's very pleasant here comparatively. I mean, it's very pleasant here, just period, but yeah, definitely a little nicer.
And Tropfest, now it was founded in 1993, but you're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Why bring it back to Australia now?
So what happened was, 93, and then our last one was 2019.
Yep.
It grew, I mean, as you know, it grew to the world's largest short film festival. It started as a little screening in a cafe of just one of my own films and just blew up. And we ended up, we were in the Domain, we were in Centennial Park and all over the place, and plus live events all over the world, including the Middle East, America, New York, everywhere, Southeast Asia. And then in 2019, we ended up in Parramatta. We did like a 3-year deal with Parramatta, which was fantastic. But it was also like the 3-year deal ran its course, and I was like, let me just hit the pause button and see what happens here. I kind of wanted to get back to the CBD, if I'm really honest about it. And then COVID hit, and the next thing you know, it's COVID, and as
everything was cancelled. Everything was cancelled.
Shut down.
Even the Olympics got moved.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that was possible.
Massive, exactly. It was massive. And so I thought, oh, God, okay. And then the next thing you know, it's like 3, 4, 5 years, and I'm thinking, this is going to be hard to get this back, But I knew in my heart of hearts it had to come back. I had a lot of messages, emails, all the rest of it from a lot of young filmmakers. A lot of people had done well out of Tropfest. A lot of people had used it as a springboard.
Yeah.
And a lot of the industry sort of icons, if you will, saying, what happened, mate? This thing was so important. And I was like, I get it. I'm trying to figure it out. And don't forget, I was based in New York and have my own career too. Like Tropfest is my passion project, my sort of moonlighting gig.
World's biggest short film festival, but a side hustle
exactly,
for the man himself.
Exactly. And so I was just trying to think, how the hell do I bring this thing back? And then I got this one email out of the blue from Brian Brown, legendary actor Brian Brown. And he said, mate, what's going on with Tropfest? And I said, well, it's funny you should mention that. I'm trying to figure it out. He says, well, I've got some mates who want to just talk about, see if there's a way to help. And I was like, oh, this sounds good. And it turns out his mates were some other big icons like himself, Sarah Murdoch, Peter Volandis.
Yes,
and Rich Weinberg.
Wow.
Who's a big player in a lot of worlds, including real estate, commercial real estate, but also entertainment and stuff. So we got on a Zoom and we I knew Rich, I knew Sarah, I didn't know Peter at all, and I knew Brian very well. And we just got on like a house on fire. And it became clear to me that these guys didn't just want to bring it back, they kind of wanted to bring it back the way I wanted to bring it back, which was not for profit, keeping the DNA the way it was, not charging ticket prices, all this sort of stuff. And I was like, let's do this, and here we are.
And now it's on. Now Tropfest is coming back to Australia after 6 years. What are you most excited about for this year? What's new?
Well, I got to be honest with you, I'm most excited about the live stream.
Okay.
YouTube live stream.
Live on YouTube.
Live on YouTube.
Exclusively.
And that's massive. I mean, look, to be fair, I'm excited about a lot of things.
Yep.
But that is up there for sure. Like, I'm excited about the movies. The quality of the movies is off the charts. I think I can say without any question of a doubt that these are the best films I've ever seen for Tropfest. Unless I'm completely kidding myself, they are so good. And obviously the proof will be in the pudding this Sunday. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about coming back to Centennial Park. I'm excited about it being a not-for-profit. I'm excited about all of our partners, including, Commonwealth Bank is our presenting partner.
Yep.
YouTube is our powered by partner. And I'm extremely excited about the live stream.
Yeah, why is the live stream so important?
Well, because the whole idea of Tropfest is getting an audience for young filmmakers, period. If you really had to boil it down, like why have Tropfest, right? It's not a money-making thing. Like I said, we don't charge ticket prices. I think filmmakers pay like $65 each to get it. It's not like, no one's sitting back going, how do I make money out of this thing? We have one goal, and that's let's find, well, I guess two goals, but they're combined. Let's find the talent that's in Australia that nobody really knows about. I don't care if you've been to film school. I don't care if you come from a wealthy family or if you know some famous people. We just don't care. We care, do you have talent? And if you've got a story that's interesting, that's one. And number two, how do we get as many eyeballs as possible? And where else do you get eyeballs from YouTube?
Couldn't agree
so
more.
when we first started talking, literally that first conversation,
Yeah.
the conversation was like, well, great, let's go back to the park, let's talk about the domain, let's talk about Centennial Park and all that. But let's talk to YouTube, because YouTube's YouTube, and it's global.
There's only one YouTube.
Absolutely. And people go, Tropfest blew up, and I'm thinking, well, I think it's about 14 years younger or more than YouTube. It didn't blow up quite like that. It is, yeah. When did YouTube start? It was like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah, and it changed the game. But I heard what they're doing is taking the 30 years of Tropfest, and now they're all on the Tropfest YouTube channel as well. So
100%.
centralizing all that content.
100%.
Is that like a amazing thing for you to watch, knowing that you've built this Tropfest and now it's all centralized on YouTube?
It's incredible. It's incredible. Our entire archive is on YouTube, really from '93, and that's the business model. If you want to watch a Tropfest film, whether it's a new one, an old one, or in between, it's all YouTube, and that's. I mean, it's the perfect partner in that way, and that was why. I'm not kidding. It was probably the first call I made, was to Mel Silver here.
Yeah, the CEO.
Yeah, and she was amazing and just got back to me straight away, and we started meeting, and here we are, So, yeah, if you think film, or should I say visual medium, whatever you want to call it, and if you think, shorter content, which is us, like even though it's not as short as some content, but it's 7 minutes or less.
Yeah.
I mean, what better platform is there? So it was really the very, very first thing we thought we had as a board. How do we make that happen? And we made that happen, and here we are. So to answer your question, that's why I'm excited. And I'm excited that these young Aussie filmmakers that most people wouldn't have heard of, even Australians, are going to be able to be watched from anywhere in the world globally. I mean, it's incredible.
100%. And you spoke about a Tropfest film's got to be 7 minutes long or less.
Yeah.
Now, you did miss out on jumping off the 7-meter platform. We had to get the
I'm
McFarlane
really
brothers in. What
disappointed
happened
about
there?
that, Sam. You know what? I really tried to make that work. I was very excited and not at all nervous.
Yeah. We got this week. Would you like to reschedule?
Well, I have a couple of things on.
Okay.
Let me get back to you. No, I was
Get him up on the platform.
Originally, I was committed.
Yeah.
And it was right before Christmas. They were like, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I have to admit, because I know who you are.
It's pretty scary up there.
But I hadn't put it together. I thought diving, I was thinking maybe it's like scuba diving.
Scuba diving,
like
yeah.
an idiot. And then they were like, no, it's diving. And I don't know, I would say fear is the second thing. The first thing is like, I don't know how glamorous I'm going to look up there.
I reckon the style would have been good. Get your Tropfest Speedos.
But look at you, mate. I mean, like, come on. And I did see it. I've seen it before.
What'd you think of the boys' temp?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. God bless those two guys, the McFarlane brothers. Brilliant. But when I saw them shirtless, I thought, now, who would I rather see shirtless? Probably those guys. Nothing against me, but yeah. No, I'm sorry I missed that.
Next time, we'll get you out there.
I'm available in 2029 if you could do it then.
We could pencil that in. I might pencil that in. Now, you've always backed young talent with Tropfest. Why is that so important to you to get behind the youngsters?
Well, honestly, two reasons. One is just selfishly, it's fun, It's fun. I like it. I like seeing other people. I won't say kids because they're not kids. They're in their 20s and 30s. But, when you make that call, that one time of the year, when you get to call the 16 finalists, which I did about a week ago.
Is that special?
2 weeks ago. Oh, they're crying. They're so excited. They can't believe it. A lot of times they're like, who is this? Barry, is that you? Barry, come on, that's, and I'm like, no, it's John Polson from Tropfest. They think it's someone like...
It's like a prank call.
Do a prank call and stuff like that. They're so excited. So who doesn't love that? But the other reason is like I'm at a certain age now. I've done okay, you know, and few people gave me a break along the way. I could name 5 people off the top of my head who maybe gave me a little nod, gave me a little whatever, just gave me a break. And I feel like, I mean, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, you know, I'm not Spielberg, but I've done it right, and I feel like, well, why can't I give someone a break?
Give them back.
What better way to spend at least some of your time than giving someone else a break? And it feels good, you know. Like I'll be in LA or I'll be in New York or somewhere, anywhere, Australia, and someone will come up and like, hey, I was a finalist in 2004. That changed everything. Now I'm doing this or that, or I made a film, or, you know. And our list is pretty extensive. I mean, you think about people like Justin Kurzel, one of the biggest Australian directors out there, Alethea Jones kicking massive goals in the US, even David Michaud, who I didn't really know until I read an article a couple of days ago. He wrote the first draft of Animal Kingdom at a thing we used to call Trop Nest, which was at Fox Studios, and we would give writers for a year, I think it was, we would give them a room and maybe a little money, like 25 grand or whatever, so that they didn't have to think too much about paying the rent. They could go and write something. I read in the article that he was saying that's where he wrote the first draft of Animal Kingdom. So it's like, and I don't even know that one. So trust me, we've never been that good at talking about our alumni, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's one of your favourite stories that you've seen come through from Tropfest that's really touched you?
Well, there's quite a few, but like, you know, well, there is a classic story, right? There's a film.
We love a classic.
Yeah, classic. There's a film it was at the Domain. So Domain was around 2000 onwards. So I'm going to guess it was around 2003, 2004. I'm talking 100,000 people at the Domain. A film came in called Wilfred, and it cost $500. It looked pretty crappy, but it was genius. And it was about a woman bringing this guy home on a first date, and she has a dog. But of course, the dog is a dude in a dog suit, right? And in the movie, they just act like he's the dog, but he talks and stuff. And it's Jason Gann playing the dog. And I think Adam Zwar playing the dude, or Adam Zwar directed it, but anyway, Adam Zwar was involved. And we all thought it was brilliant. And it won Best Comedy, I believe. Russell Crowe was a judge that year. Jason Gann won Best Actor. So that became a TV series on SBS, which then became a TV series on FX in the US.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So a $500 movie in Tropfest wins Best Comedy, becomes an SBS series, like a really successful one. And now Jason, same dog, same guy, is hanging out in LA shooting a very successful, I don't know, they did 3 seasons or whatever it was on FX with Elijah Wood playing the other guy, playing the guy, you know, from the thing. So that's a pretty good story. I mean, that's one of the most extreme cases we've had. I mean, we've had a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Rebel Wilson won Best Actress before anyone knew who she was. Sam Worthington won Best Actor when he was just starting out. Joel Edgerton, Nash Edgerton, you know, we've had, like I said, David Michaud. I mean, there's probably a list of, I would guess, 30 to 40 people that are out working globally who got a break through Tropfest. And I always make a point of saying we don't take credit for them. They came with the talent. We're not a film school, right? All we do is we say, hey, we spotted the talent and then we showed it to people. Yeah. That's it.
What about the early days? Take me right back.
Yeah.
Early days of Tropfest. What were some of the biggest challenges you had in getting it off the ground?
Well, you know, one of the things was it wasn't like a business plan, you know, and that's one of the great things about it too.
Kind of winging it?
Oh, 100%. Like a lot of things, you know, they're born in a boardroom. People sit around, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not Tropfest. Tropfest happened. I made a movie, short film, called Surrey Hills 902 Spring Roll.
Okay.
And it was a mockumentary, and it cost me a few bucks. I was an actor, you know, so I had no money and stuff. I actually bought a video camera, which was really expensive back then. They'd just come out with a mate's money, and it had a 7-day return policy. So I kept the receipt. I bought at Ted's camera store. Don't sue me, Ted, if you're listening. But yeah, I bought a camera, a couple of grand or whatever. Kept the receipt. Went and made a movie, and very legally just returned it with the receipt and got my mate's money back. But that was the first film, and it was called Surrey Hills 902 Spring Roll. It was a mockumentary about food deliverers, and it wasn't The Godfather. Let's just put it like that. But when it came time to screen it, I tried to call theatres, cinemas, and they were all like $1,000 each just to have a cast and crew. I only had like 10 cast and crew, and I was like, God, I don't have $1,000 for that, So I was sitting at the Tropicana one day, which is a cafe up in Dali. It was still there, which was a hangout for a lot of artists and actors and stuff. And that was
the place to be?
That was my living room, pretty much. I was there every day. And I think somebody else might have said, well, why don't you just get a TV and play it in the corner? And I was like, well, that's not a bad idea. So I went over to Serge, who was this beautiful Italian guy who owned the place, just the most wonderful guy, really generous. If someone didn't have money, he'd just turn a blind eye and give free coffees.
Good
or
man,
whatever.
yeah.
Really good dude. And he said, sure, you can play it over there. So I set a date, next Thursday or whatever, and I borrowed a big TV. Big in those days was like, not that big. And a U-matic tape player, which nobody would have heard of now.
I don't even know what
But
that
it was
is.
the latest and greatest technology. Yeah. And I set it up one afternoon, went home, got changed, and when I came back, there was 200 people cramming into the cafe trying to watch this movie. So to answer your question, like, what happened? Well, what happened was I played that movie, and then the movie was okay, but people just loved seeing themselves because it was set at the Tropicana. So
Is that where the name came from?
Yeah, Tropfest. Yeah, it started as the Tropicana Short Film Festival, and it just became known as Tropfest.
And you named it after the cafe you streamed your first film in?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's where it was for the first few years until the first one was 200. That was just me.
Yeah.
And then I got on a chair and said, okay, let's have a festival, and come back to me in 3 months with your movies. And I went and got 4 TVs for that first official festival.
Yeah.
And 9 people made films, and 1,000 people showed up to that one, and they were spilling out in the street and everything. The cops came, and it was a whole thing. And so the first 2, 3, 4 years, there was no business model. It was just me. To be honest, I didn't want to do it, but I had a lot of other people going, "Oh, that was great. You got to do it again." And all I was
Sounds like that's what's happened now too.
It is a bit like it.
You've taken some time off, and everyone said, "Nah,
totally,
John, you got to come back."
Yeah, totally. And I was like, well, why don't you do it? Like, what do I just wanted to be an actor and stuff like that. But then I kind of figured out, like, with a lot of help from a lot of people, bit of a business model. I realized, people were like, why don't you get a sponsor? And I was literally like, well, what's a sponsor? They're like, they might pay to. I'm like, why would someone pay for this? And they're like, well, you put that poster up or something like that. I mean, that's how primitive I was. I had no idea. And then, over the years, it just developed a bit. And then eventually some staff started showing up, and here we are.
And was there a moment when you realised that it wasn't just a one-off, but it was a cultural momentum behind it?
Yeah, there was a great moment that I will never forget, right? It was about year 3. So, and again, at this point, I'm like, oh, God, everyone wants me to do it. And by the way, I was paying for it out of my own pocket, right? Because it was free to attend. My friends, God bless them, would go around with buckets and try and collect money at the end of the night, but they would never get back the money I'd spent. I'd spend maybe $2,000, and they'd collect like $600 and stuff like that. But there was this one night about year 3, and by then we were out on the street, and I had the council permission to close the whole street down. So we had 7,000 people there one year, and I thought, well, this is pretty big, but I don't know if it's going to get much bigger than that. But then down the road there was Rushcutters Bay Park. So I called a few tech guys and whatever, and I had a couple of meetings, and I found out if I send a microwave signal, not a satellite, literally a microwave, you have to have line of sight. This is back in the day. If I could see the park from the roof of the place across the road, I could put a screen over there and just see if anyone shows up as sort of an overflow venue, right?
Yeah.
But I had no idea, and I think I hired a security guard to watch it.
One.
It was one guy, to watch these screens because no one was down there. There was no event down there. It was just like a satellite, like a microwave signal down, and then a receiver at the bottom, and a screen which to me seemed huge, but it was probably about 2 meters by 3 meters, whatever. So I kicked off the event the way I always did up at Victoria Street, and it was packed. And I thought I'll just go and see if anyone's watching that other screen. So I actually got a cab. It was only about a few blocks, but I kicked it off. Welcome. We hit play on the movies, and I thought I better be quick. So I went down, got a cab down the hill, expecting maybe find like 15 people there. It was packed.
Packed.
And I was like, what the hell is going on? There were more people in Rushcutters Bay Park than back in Victoria Street watching this pretty small screen and this pretty small speaker. And I thought, this thing's got some legs. This is not just a thing. And that's when I thought. And the following year, we actually based out of Rushcutters Bay Park, and we sent the signal the other way to Victoria Street because we were too big for the street now. So we went down, and Victoria Street became the satellite venue. And then we outgrew Rushcutters Bay in about 2 more years, and then we were at the Domain. That's how it happened.
And then you put a few more security guards down there. I bet that guy was overrun.
Yeah. I mean, that guy was like, what happened? I thought, this Polson guy told me there's going to be 20 people down here.
He's got thousands.
It was thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Wasn't incredible. And that was the moment you realised, whoa, this is a real cultural moment.
I mean, there's been a lot of turning points. Another one would be when we went to the Domain, which is massive, and everyone's like, dude, it's short films. What are you doing? You're insane. That you can't fill the Domain. That's like Carols by Candlelight and stuff. And I was like, I just had a feeling. I'm like, well, maybe, but let's give it a shot. And packed.
Just back yourself.
Yeah.
And come off.
Yeah.
Now the judging panel.
Yeah.
This year we've got some incredible world-class stars lined up for the Tropfest judging panel.
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to bring to the table?
Well, they're going to bring incredible experience. Let's start with Margot Robbie, who's the president of the jury. She's, obviously an acclaimed actor, doing incredibly well, massive international hit. I mean, I don't need to tell anyone that. But she's also, maybe lesser known, she's a big producer. She's one of the producers on Barbie and other things. So she's got a whole production company. So she's perfect for us in the sense that she brings the whole package, really, and she can watch films from a producerial point of view as well. We haven't announced all of our judges yet. Some of them are being announced that you might have.
I was going to say, are we going to get some special information out here today?
Well,
give the boys a couple of days to edit. Maybe we could get it out before then. Who knows?
Yeah, no,
he's thinking about
it. But we've got. Actually, I will announce something here. I'll probably get in trouble. When does this come out?
Well, I told the boys we want edited out by Thursday.
Well, I think if it's not out by then, we'll have my news. I'll give you one little tidbit that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Danny Philippou is Raka Raka,
Yeah.
one of the brothers from that is
Yes.
coming, and he's talking at Roughcut, which is our 2-day education. So your people should know that we do something called Tropfest Roughcut, also powered by YouTube.
Yep.
Which is at NIDA, big partner for us, and it's massive. It's blowing up. We've got incredible speakers. Bruno Papandrea, some of the biggest names in Australia, Gracie Otto, and David Philippou is he made like all these amazing movies. You know who he is, right? Raka Raka, yeah.
Yep.
So he's going to come and have a talk there, and he's also going to be a judge. So yeah, and we've got
That's exciting.
A little.
That judging panel is going to be packed.
Yeah, the judging panel is going to be, and what they don't know yet is this is the first time ever we're doing kind of what I'm calling. I've got to think of a cool name for it, but it's basically a platform. So you walk. We've never done this. Usually the judges are just the front row of the reserve section, right? But this one, they're going to walk up some stairs and they're going to have like an elevated, so they've got a really clear shot of the screen and a great comfortable place, and they're sort of out of the way, and it's going to be a really good panel, really good.
Now, you're saying Margot Robbie's going to be on the judging panel, and obviously she's well acclaimed for her acting, but less for the production. Can you tell me more about what the production side that she brings to the judging panel?
Well, yeah, Margot as a producer and running her own company, I mean, look, I can't speak for her, but I can tell you that makes me think she's going to bring, of course, she's going to be looking at the things we're all going to be looking at. She's probably going to be thinking about the script because a lot of production is about developing the script and that stuff. I don't know what she's going to bring. I have a pre-briefing with all of the judges on Sunday, a few hours before the event. So we sit down in a sort of boardroom together for the first time, and we spend an hour going over everything and answering all the questions, and I tell them whatever they need to know, but I give them a bit of a history about Tropfest. One of the things I'm always on about is we're not looking for slickness, we're not looking for big budgets, we're not necessarily, not that we're against that either, but if someone's got a brilliant idea and it looks like it costs $5, we don't care. What we're really looking for is the filmmaker.
And how do you judge creativity? Because it's such a subjective thing.
Yeah.
How do you put metrics and choose winners from a creative short film like Tropfest?
That's a really good question, actually. And a lot of people would say, and it's not like I disagree, that, films competing against each other in a way, slightly controversial, to be honest with you. We do it, we've sort of always done it, and it is, how should I say this? We're not the only ones. I mean, every film festival in the world has prizes and whatever. But yeah, judging art against art is very tricky. That said, you you sort of ask jurors to come along to give you their opinion, And I think most people, whether it's a juror, and by the way, we have another competition that we're doing, which is with CommBank, where anybody in Australia can apply to be a judge on the panel, and we're going to have almost like a people's representative judge.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That is cool.
It's very Tropfest. It means that somebody's going to be next to Margot and next to all the other big names, who's just somebody that we've flown in from Perth or wherever it is, who has had to pitch why they should be chosen and all that. So they're kind of a film lover, presumably. But they sit alongside everybody else, and they're kind of a celeb for the night. It's fun. Yeah. But, you choose people who have opinions, and I think most people, whether it's that person or Margot or anybody else, and people sitting in the grass, kind of know, well, this was my favourite film, and this was my second favourite. It is hard, though. You make a good point. Because we've got documentaries in there. I don't know how you compare a doco to a thriller. But, that's Tropfest. And what I say is, it is important, because the winner sort of matters and gets a big springboard. But honestly, getting in matters too. Even the people in the wildcard competition, we did something called the YouTube Tropfest wildcard competition, which just wrapped up 2 days ago, where we chose the 16th finalist, because there's always 16. We Tropfest chose 15 with our normal process, with pre-selectors. And then YouTube's audience chose the 16th one. It was
How
a lot
fun.
of fun.
That is very Tropfest as well.
It blew up, yeah. It blew up. And we just announced the winner yesterday, based on likes, based on comments, based on views.
Community engagement. Beautiful.
Yeah, a beautiful film that won 2 Blue Orchids. So, we just, you sort of do your best and go, well, what's my favourite film?
Yeah. Knock it down to the basics.
Yeah.
What do I think's best?
And what I say in the pre-briefing is the filmmaker almost matters more than the film. You might see a film that blows up and brings the house down and all that, and it's hilarious and stuff. But is that the filmmaker you want to kind of put your chips on for the future? Because that's really what we're trying to do, right? Is pick who's going to run with it.
And
really.
How do you recognise that massive talent before they become obvious talent and just amazingly successful? How do you see that grassroots level and say, I think they're going to make it?
That's a really good question. I mean, honestly, I think that's just a bit of taste, maybe. I feel like I've done this a long time now. It's kind of a muscle. And look, nobody knows. And trust me when I say, almost without fail, the film that I think is going to win barely gets noticed. and the film that I think is going to barely get noticed wins. So it's really hard.
It's amazing. The same thing happens in content creation for us.
Right.
You might put 20 hours into a video and you're like, this is it. This is it. It's going to blow up.
It's going to blow up.
And it flops.
Yeah.
And then I make another video and I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, but I'll put it out.
I'll put it out and it does millions.
I know. And that's the beauty of it too. Like, because with Tropfest, the thing that's always missing when you're watching it at home is the audience, you know? And even if it's not a comedy, obviously the comedy, the crowd goes wild, whatever, but even if it's a drama and you can hear a pin drop and there's 50,000 people in that park or whatever, that's a big deal, you know? So that's what's missing, and that's what you really don't know until you sit with an audience how it's going to go. And that's one of the things I love about it. And one of the unique things about Tropfest, like if you go to Cannes or if you're a judge at I think most other festivals, you end up sitting in a cinema somewhere in France or whatever, and you just judge the movies. But we judge them with Margot's never seen any of these movies until next Sunday night. So she watches them live with everybody else. And whether you realize it or not, you're going to get caught up in that public reaction. You might not notice it, but how do you not? If a film really plays well, it's gonna show up in the scores, you know, and that's Tropfest.
First, the most authentic way to go about it. First time, see how people react, and that's the most authentic reaction you're going to get. Because it's the first time everyone gets to see it.
I think so, you know, I think so. I've always felt like a lot of times you just read a bad review of a movie and then you see the movie and it wasn't that bad, or vice versa. And then you learn, oh, wow, critics go and see these movies alone. A lot of times they'll sit in a big screening room, 50 people, like 50 seats, and there's one or two critics there watching it, and maybe it's a comedy. Like, that's not the way to see a movie, you know? And then it's no wonder that the review often doesn't match what the public think.
I find one of my favourite parts about enjoying a film is actually debriefing with my friends afterwards.
Yeah.
Walking out and saying, what'd you think of this? What'd you think of that?
Totally.
How'd you see that? I suppose without that companionship, you probably miss a whole element of actually understanding film itself.
I think so. I think film is a social, you know, it's a social thing. I mean, we've obviously, you know, you've got YouTube, which is amazing, but even YouTube, you know, I'm getting calls now, like there are pubs around Australia who want to do our stream and have Tropfest parties and stuff. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
Like, bring it on. I think this year we'll put a toe in the water and do a couple. There's one in Adelaide. I think there's one in Alexandria and stuff like that. They're emailing, you know. But I can imagine in next year or the year after really making that a part of it, doing like Tropfest, YouTube parties, whatever.
Everywhere.
Where you have your stream.
Yeah.
There might be 100 or 1,000 people in a pub or whatever it is, and put up a nice screen, and we could give them a shout out from the stage and all that sort of stuff, you know?
Okay.
I think it's a communal thing.
I think that'd be awesome. And what about if you had to start again today? Because when you found the Tropfest, there was no iPhones.
Right.
Cameras probably were not readily available.
No, nothing like this.
If you started today where you had iPhones and all the gear, what would you have done differently?
It's a good question. Well, I think things would be easier, right? I mean, back when I was starting out, like I said, the cameras were $2,000-$3,000. A camera that today you could buy for a couple $100, you know, was this big and was thousands, you know. And then there was no real computers to do editing and stuff like that. I mean, not really. You had to go in, like that movie I told you about, Surrey Hills 902 Spring Roll. I had a friend who was editing something in North Sydney, and every night at 6 when he would finish his editing, I would come in and do the night shift on his equipment for free, you know, because I had no money to rent it. And so it was all that. You couldn't sit at home with your computer and just knock it out, you know. So what would I do differently? I mean, it's sort of interesting. What would you do the same, you know? What I'd do the same is try to tell stories that are human, you know. The technology's changed, but what I've noticed about, say, these films this year is the human element hasn't really changed. The stories are still stories about people that connect with you, that make you tear up or make you laugh, stuff like that. So I think that stuff has sort of stayed the same. But I have noticed that technology is insane. I mean, every one of those films on Sunday night, and many that didn't get in, by the way, are feature film quality films. They just look beautiful. They sound beautiful. They're edited beautifully. Back in the day, remember the first year when we got 9 films, there was no selection process, right? And they were questionable quality. Some of them were great, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when you've got there's no selection, you're just putting on whatever anyone made. I remember one of the judges fainted the first year because there was a movie about a morgue.
Oh, yeah.
And she literally just fainted, yeah. And I could never figure out, was it about the morgue or was it the quality of the film that really put her out? But yeah, she just passed out.
Wow.
Yeah.
In some regard, is that great filmmaking? Having an impact?
Could be. I mean, she didn't think so. When she came to, she was like, but yeah, film, you want film to move you, you want film to have an impact, have something to say. Definitely depends what your goal is. Make you laugh, make you cry, all that stuff, I don't know about make you faint, because it's hard to remember the second half of the film if that happens.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, with so much more technology, what makes a Tropfest film stand out today when there is AI and there's high quality cameras and there's so much more competition?
Yeah.
How do you stand out?
Well, that's a great question too. A lot of great questions.
Oh, thank you.
No, I think quality, quality. Technical quality stuff, but I've seen a million films. The technical quality is amazing. It sounds amazing. The music is amazing. I didn't feel anything. I didn't connect with the characters, or there wasn't really a story there or something like that, I think what we have, and what I'm trying to build on YouTube specifically, not that it needs, there's other places on YouTube that does this too, obviously, but what I'm really trying to build on YouTube is a home where you can go and just see great quality, scripted stuff. Because really most of it's scripted. We do have docos and stuff here and there, animated stuff, whatever. But if you want to watch a really good story with actors and scripts and writing, you kind of know that if I go to youtube.com/Tropfest, just to plug it, that's a home. That's where you got a pretty good idea that you're going to see something really that impacts you, And we do. And we did something interesting this year, which we've never done before. Well, we had over 700 films entered in the competition, which was a bit crazy when you think.
Did you have to go through all of them personally?
No. I watched a lot of them.
Very quickly become a full-time job.
Yeah, I did. I probably watched 400 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Because what happened was we had 16 pre-selectors that went through all of them. And my rule was minimum of 3 films. Sorry, each film has to be watched by a minimum of 3 people because I don't want to rely on just one person, right? And any one of those 3 could nominate it to go to the next step. But what was really interesting, to get back to your point about the quality, 700 plus is kind of peak Tropfest days, right? We used to get about 800. So we got very close to that in our first year back with a very short runway. Usually they have the whole year. This time they only had from the 1st of September because that's when we launched. And then any one of those pre-selectors can nominate a film to go forward. We always, every year, we got anywhere from 80 to 120, right? That was just this year we got 318 films out of the 700.
Wow.
Which freaked me out because I had my whole schedule ready. I was going to spend maybe a day or two watching films. 318 films is not a day or two. That took about a week. And I'm not the only one. There's another panel that comes on. I sort of shepherd that part of it. But, what I was saying, what we did differently this year is we said to the filmmakers, entrants, hey, if you don't get in, but you want your film to get, because it's not easy to get an audience for a short film, right? You can put it on YouTube, It might blow up, but it might not. It might get 20 views. It's hard, as we all know.
It is very hard.
Right?
Yep.
If you give us we don't want any ownership in the film, but if you give us like non-exclusive rights to show the film, then check this box, and I think 95% of them said yes to that.
Wow.
So we have our 16 films, but we have hundreds of other films now for the next year to start putting out and putting packages together. Films about love, thrillers. Obviously, we have the Tropfest signature item, which we haven't touched on, which is Hourglass.
Now, this year, Tropfest is going to be live streamed globally on YouTube, with the last 30 years all being put on the Tropfest YouTube channel. What impact do you think that has for Tropfest, not just this year, but for the many, many years to come?
Well, it's massive. I mean, it's massive. We're already getting calls from India. Funnily enough, our Tropfest YouTube channel, US is number 1 in terms of viewers. I think India is number 2. Australia's like number 6.
Do you translate them, or are they English? Or are they Indian films?
No, I think it's just that automatic thing. We don't do that.
Yep.
But I think the impact. I mean, I'm starting to get calls from other countries, which we've done a bit of that before. But India is very interesting to me because it's a big country. They have Bollywood. So I'm talking.
Bollywood's big.
Yeah.
T-series they have on YouTube, which is massive.
Yeah. And there's so I'm talking to some people in Mumbai, some pretty serious players there about Tropfest India. So I think I'm very interested to see how we can grow it, globally. I mean, Australia's always going to be where it started and kind of the mothership, if you will. And I love the way it's set up here and with the not-for-profit board and all that sort of stuff. But I think we've also developed a bit of a playbook now that can be taken to India or America or, Middle East and rolled out, I think there should be Tropfest, the Hollywood Bowl. I think there should be one in Central Park in New York, But, we're starting here, and so far the signs are good. I mean, I can't tell you, when we really started talking probably about a year ago, in my wildest dreams, I didn't think we'd get to where we are. We've got a lot going on for Sunday. And the 2 days before, Rough Card, we're announcing Trop Junior on that night.
And Austin, he was entered in Trop Junior first.
Yeah.
And that's what helped him really get into the filmmaking industry. So
yeah,
the framework is obviously so successful, and to see it go global, copying the framework here would be
good.
Incredible.
And that's another thing that's amazing about YouTube is as we roll it out, potentially we have a global platform we can roll it out on. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited. Well, this Sunday, the 22nd of February, Tropfest will be in Centennial Park, and we'll both be there.
I can't wait, Sam.
What other reason to come along?
The other thing worth knowing is even though Tropfest really kicks off at let's call it 6:37, we have a whole other event this year that we're doing called Trop Live, and it starts at midday. And it's all kinds of activations, including with YouTube, the Commonwealth Bank, and others. We have music. We have incredible jazz players and other music. Our headline musical act is Bujara. I don't know if you know Bujara, but amazing ARIA award-winning artist. So, yeah, there's some big stuff going on.
I'm going to be there all day.
Oh, that's
all
awesome,
day. I'll
man.
be there.
You'll have fun. Get some sunscreen.
Yeah.
Stay in the shade. Drink some water. But it's going to be good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward. John, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it.